So when we're talking about theater, what are we talking about? And I'm going to break it down into three different categories. So first, we can talk about the act of theater. And this goes back to that quote from Peter Brook. So the act of theater, you're really looking at this heightened circumstance between performer and audience. And this could potentially happen improvisational street theater, or if you're thinking about pop up performances or any of those kinds of things, those can be considered theater. All we need is a person to walk across the space and for somebody else to watch it for an act of theater to happen. But notice that this says heightened circumstances. So, what makes it heightened? Uh, and so, sometimes I think we can think about intention. Is it intended to be watched? Is it crafted? Is it slower than it might normally be, or faster than it might normally be, or a little bit out of place? What makes it theater? What makes it heightened? What heightens the circumstances? Maybe it's heightened simply because it's been rehearsed and very carefully crafted. So we can talk about that act of theater, and we will talk about this in depth. We can also talk about the theater companies. So these are the theater practitioners of various specialties who have teamed up to create a performance, to create theater. Now, this could be, a lot of times we think about actors and we think about directors, but it's not limited to that. We're also thinking about the costume designers and the set designers and the stage managers and the people who manage marketing and who connect with the audiences. All of those people are considered to be a part of a theater company. And we will talk a lot more in depth about those individual roles. Finally, we can talk about the theater building. Now, what do we really need to have a theater building? And this we can go back to the Greeks' definition, the seeing place, right? So the main requirements is that you have a space to perform and a space for audiences to see and hear. That's the basics. So the structures vary throughout history, and they vary based on how important theater was, and they vary based on which social class theater belonged to, and who was valuing it at the time. So the structures could be outdoor amphitheaters. The structure of a theater could be a wagon that is drawn throughout a town. The structure of a theater could be a multi-story building with a stage and fixed velvet seating and crafted acoustics. A theater could also be a converted warehouse. All of these buildings can potentially be theater buildings. And so we have talked about the act of theater. We have talked about the theater company, and we've talked about the theater building. And this is a structure that we will use to look at theater throughout history and throughout genres as we carry on in this class.